Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast. Today is episode 29 of the Chatbox podcast. Today's guest was Becky Measures, so here it is. Hello everyone, welcome to another Chatterbox podcast. It's episode 30 today. How are you doing? Right, let's crack on. As you know, I have a guest each week to talk about their job or their career, so let's crack on with this week's guest. It's broadcaster Becky Measures. Hello Becky, welcome along. How are you today?
I'm really good, Ben. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. There's no better meeting place than in the back of your garden, is there? Do you know what I mean?
I'm in a tight room in here, so
I feel for you. I've moved my office to the garden. It's all working well for me.
That's good. That's good. 5 questions about your broadcast career, radio career and broadcasting, if that's okay.
No problem at all. Let's do it.
You ready to rumble in the jungle, as they say?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's just go for it, shall we? Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
At peakfm, which was Peak 107 when I first started, when I was 19 years old, which is based in Chesterfield.
With the legendary good friend of mine, Sean Goldsmith, mutual friend
Certainly
of ours.
Certainly was. To be honest, I started with a guy called Rob Burney. I was on with Rob. I started in the October of 2000. Or was it 2001? I can't quite remember. And I was on with Rob for about 4 months, and then Sean joined in the January. And yeah, we had 15 years together, me and Goldsmith.
He's now moved on to bigger things.
Certainly has, bless him. He's been all over the shop at the minute, but I don't know where he is from 1 minute to next.
People want you and him for a reunion, I think.
They keep mentioning it, don't they? They keep saying we need a Sean and Becky show. So I'm quite sure at some point it will definitely happen when we've got a minute and when all this COVID malarkey is all over and done with. I'm quite sure we'll hit them with something if everyone's ready for it.
Yeah, do it on Radio Chesterfield.
Let's do it. Why the heck not? Goldie, if you're listening, let's sort this out.
Yep. Question 2. Who were your inspirations in broadcasting growing up?
It's a weird one, this one, Ben, because I knew you were going to ask this. And like, I know with the likes of Sean and many, many, many other sort of radio presenters, they literally grew up wanting to do what they were doing. And radio was never sort of something that I saw myself doing. I was always wanting to sort of go down the acting route or the performing route. And I joined Peak FM back in the day as a promotional girl, to be fair, thinking that, you know, potentially someone might hear me sing and they might launch a record and all of that. So when I actually sort of fell into radio, really, it wasn't something that, you know, I sort of looked at people and went, I want to be like that, I want to be, you know, whoever. But as soon as I did get into radio, I started to, you know, sort of appreciate presenters a lot more. And I've got to say, Sarah Cox all the way. I absolutely adored how Sarah was so her, and she still is. And you listen to her radio too, and you just know that she isn't anything else but the person that she is when she's talking, and you know that that's what she's going to be like in real life. And you know, I totally admire her for that.
One of my inspirations growing up, as I mentioned before in previous podcasts, Tony Blackburn.
Oh, really? Was he? And that he really is a radio legend. He's been around since, you know, sort of God was a kid, I'm sure.
Yeah, earlier this week I signed a petition to get him a CBE.
Oh, really? Has he not got one already?
No, people are petitioning together.
I just thought he'd got it. I'd have definitely thought he'd have been made a sir by now.
He hasn't yet, unfortunately.
Right, well, you know, watch this space. Benny's on it.
Yeah, I've already signed the petition, so we should.
Excellent. We'll send it over my way. I'll sign it as well.
I've shared it on my social Facebook.
Excellent. Tony, Ben's behind you. You're going to get this.
Question 3. What is your favourite part about the job?
the favourite part about job, I love the fact, and I say this quite often, that I can be a voice for people. Yeah, so when you're, you're on the air and you're chatting away, to be able to broadcast on behalf of the everyday person that, is doing amazing things and doesn't really know how to potentially sort of platform themselves or to get their, whatever it is they're doing out there, to be able to do that for them. There is no better feeling than that. And I love the fact as well that whenever, I'm on air, whichever station I'm at, I feel like I make a massive wealth of friends, and I make sometimes like a second family. And especially over the last sort of 18 months with COVID, for the first sort of 8 months of COVID, I was on my own here with my kids, and going onto the radio and doing my radio shows on BBC Sheffield. I felt like I was able to go and be with a group of friends. These are people that I've never met, but it didn't matter because, we got to know each other, and we were there for each other. And it is like having, in some respects, like an extended family when you get to know your listeners. If you're able to be on for a period of time where you can get to know your regular callers and the people that literally sort of tune in because you are their friend, in a morning or whenever it is, that there's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, as I say, I have the similar thing because we have over here Humberside for the BBC branch.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of presenters who work on Humberside.
You do, and you become their friend, and they become yours. And
I don't know if you know any on Humberside.
I probably do, but I'm rubbish with names, Ben. I'm really, really bad with names. I don't take much information in very often. I'm really bad with that. Something I've got to work on.
Yeah, it's good that. How long you been at Radio Sheffield, BBC? Sorry.
At BBC Sheffield, I started in 2017, and I've been their cover presenter there for the last sort of 4 years. And then at the start of this year, I got given my own shows on a weekend. So I now broadcast 10 till 2 every Saturday and Sunday.
That's good.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm coming on to question 4 now. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
Well, to start with, because like I say, I was like cover presenter at BBC Sheffield, and when COVID hit, I just started actually doing like mobile DJing. I was sort of DJing in bars and got a few residencies. I just moved into this house with my kids. So I'd split from my ex-partner, my kid's dad. So, when it first hit, it was really difficult because, the DJing side of stuff, being out there and DJing in bars and things, it was, obviously it was an income. But not just that, it was sort of like a way of life. And it was something that really sort of got me through a tough time. So when it first hit and all of the DJing side obviously stopped just overnight, it was really difficult, sort of really hard to sort of get my head around and sort of think, well, how am I gonna, make money? And then you sort of soon realize, well, look, you're not the only person in that situation. Everybody's feeling it the same. And to be honest, the BBC went down to skeleton shifts. So, they sort of had minimal presenters on. At one point there was 4 sort of live shows a day. Throughout the day, and then that sort of went down to 3. So the presenters were doing sort of 3 hours, they were doing 4. And I think, sort of as with everybody, everyone sort of felt it, and everyone sort of felt that kind of loneliness. But in a respect as well, it gave me more time to take time out, to reflect, to kind of sort of understand, what it was I loved about the job, what it is that I wanted to do, what it is I wanted to achieve. And, it was kind of it sort of turned out to be a bit of a blessing for me in the end. To sort of have that time and to have that moment to enjoy my children a little bit more, to take that pressure off myself for working so much. And so I've gone on a different direction. We've set up a new business, my partner and I, in marketing and PR and events. And we've been able to drive that forward quite a lot because we've had the actual time to sit and do it. So as one hand, it was, you know, it was a really difficult time. In the other hand, it was actually probably one of the best things that could have happened for us to sort of take that stand back and go, look, this is what we want to do. And, you know, we've got the time at the moment to be able to pursue that. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to really coming out the other side now and hoping that all restrictions get lifted as soon as possible, really, in as safe a way as it can do.
At the moment, I'm hearing the
19th of July. Well, I think a lot of people are hearing the 19th of July. It's just what will be, you know, sort of what we're going to have to do after the 19th of July. You know, I feel I've got so many friends who are in the festival business. You know, like Tramlines in Sheffield is a massive festival. When the tickets went on sale for Tramlines, it sold out within like 15 minutes. But it's due to start literally 5 days after the restrictions are lifted. And we sort of think, well, are the restrictions going to be lifted? You know, is there going to have to be social distancing? If there's going to be social distancing, are we going to be able to run a festival like that? So, you know, my friends in that sort of industry, I really feel for, because they're such in limbo land. You know, that, you know, they're not knowing how to do stuff and how to move forward. You know, maybe it might be just a case where I think in some respects people would just prefer it to be said like, look, nothing's going to happen again this year, but we promise you when 2022 hits, you know, it's going to be fine and we can move forward with everything. It's this limbo land that, you know, is a big struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah, and also one of my favourite events would have been next week. One of my favourite
What's
events,
that one?
Glastonbury.
I've never been then. I
haven't been, but I've seen it on the television.
Have you, darling? Bless you.
I'm hoping.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little bit of a tip. Right? Watch The Prodigy live at Glastonbury, late 2000. I think it was like 2010. It's incredible.
I'm more of a Kylie Minogue person.
Oh, you bless you. Dolly Parton as well. Live at Glastonbury.
Yeah, because I like the Kylie Minogue one, because that was at the last Glastonbury.
Ah, yes, because I've not seen that. I'll have to have a gander at that.
It was where she did a 1 hour 90-minute live slot, because she was on the Legends slot on the Sunday.
Oh, she will have been, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and also I've been archiving a lot of radio stuff. Like one of my biggest, as I say, radio heroes is still Stephanie Hurst, of course.
Yeah, Steph is just incredible.
Have you ever had the pleasure?
I've met Steph quite a few times. Yeah, she's a wonderful lady. She's such an amazing broadcaster. And of course, you know, when I was first starting out in radio, yeah, Steph was on Galaxy, Galaxy 105, and around this area particularly. Yeah, it was one of the biggest listened to stations. You know, everybody knew about Kirsty and Jojo. And, you know, sort of, I'll never forget when I first ever met Steph. And she came up and she went, "Hi, Becky, are you okay?" And I was like, oh my God, she knows my name. That's insane. And
she did work for the same company as you up until a few months ago.
Yeah, and she did. I know we did the Yorkshire show together. She was on Leeds and I was doing Radio Sheffield, so we were both there at that. I think that was the last time I saw her, actually. Obviously now she's back on Greatest Hits. But yeah, no, she's a legend in the radio industry, definitely.
Hits Radio, sorry.
Yes, that's where she's at the moment.
And doing a few other taking some time out, I think.
Which, you know, sometimes you've got to do, and especially in radio, the difference between commercial radio and BBC is it's a big difference, you know, as to how you present and the style that you present in. And I think sometimes it's sort of like, you know, you've got to try everything to be able to find out what it is that you enjoy and what it is that is the best for you.
I've also got as well lined up maybe one of Sean's former co-presenters who works with him at Chesterfield Radio, used to work with him at Peakfm. Richie, I think his name is.
Richie Pearson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to call Richie our radio son.
Yeah,
Although
Sean still does.
I am nowhere near old enough to be Richie's mum. Not a prayer.
Yeah, because Sean Goldsmith is one of my presenting heroes.
Oh, bless you. He's a good and he's our Goldie.
Yep,
I could tell you some stories about him, but not for this time.
that's fine.
As Sean, right? What a donkey is. Yeah, you
I
ask
will
him.
do.
You ask him. You've got to say, Sean, what do you think a donkey is? I'm not going
I
to tell you
will.
anymore. You've got to ask him that.
I will do when I get to talk to him again. It might be because I'm quite busy at the present.
Yeah, of course.
Question 5. What advice would you give to young aspiring broadcasters who are starting out?
Experience. Doing what you're doing, to be fair, Ben. You know what I mean? You're very sort of determined and obviously very driven to do these interviews, and nothing, absolutely nothing beats being behind a microphone and literally just doing. You know what I mean? If you can be a T-boy somewhere, if you can help somebody, if you can be a part of anything at all, you know, the money will come after you've had that experience and afterwards, after you've shown that sort of desire to be keen. You know, this is an industry where a lot of people grow up really wanting to do it, right? And you've got to show that sort of eagerness and be keen to want to be in it, because you know it's a great job. It really is. Don't just sit back and think it'll just happen for you because I'm good or I sound like this. No, you've got to really want to do it and listen to your listeners. Yeah, it's not about you, it's about them. That's the biggest advice I would give.
Wow, brilliant. That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us, Becky.
You are more than welcome, Ben. Thank you so much for having me.
Do join us again for another Chatterbox podcast very soon, but now please give it up for the legendary Becky Measures.
Thanks,
Thank
Ben.
you. Thank you very much for listening and watching. That's a wrap. That was my interview with Becky Measures. Hope you enjoyed it. A few more uploads coming later on today, so don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button for more uploads, and I'll see you soon. BL out, and that's a wrap.